Ooh, that bull's gotta hurt, man. That's gotta hurt. How's everybody doing? DJ Dave, happy Sunday night. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, all my mofos out there. Tonight, we're talking about Top Secret, another one of those great Zucker and Abrams movies. Zucker and Abrams from the 80s. Top of the game stuff here. This movie came right after, right after Airplane 2, which wasn't really top of the game. It was okay, but it certainly wasn't top of the game. But I like this movie. I always have. I think this movie's up there with Airplane, even though they went on to do, of course, Naked Gun is another level as well. But who knew that Val Kilmer had these type of comedic chops, when it came to doing silly Jim Abrams and David Zucker comedies. Movie cost about $9 million to make. Took about 20. It was kind of a bomb at the box office. But once it hit HBO streaming back in the day, the movie took off, and it was, especially with home video, it did extremely well. Joining Val, Lucy Gutteridge, never really heard of her too much. But of course, we did get the one and only, who else was in this movie? Who the hell else was in it? Well, biggest person in this movie was Michael Gough. They ended up being with him in Batman Forever. And we also had, I was just talking, whenever I talk to about these movies, I never did remember it. But Omar Sharif, who was in Lawrence of Arabia, is in this thing as he gets trapped in the car there, as you saw in the beginning. Coming in to discuss that with me. Another guy I do a show with. Link, how you doing, Link? You're muted, Link. You're keeping it going.
I didn't say and try to speak yet, so it doesn't count. But I was.
Yes. I can't believe I saw this movie when it came out back in the 80s, 84, so it's almost 40 years old.
Wow, yeah.
Almost 40. Of course, and you hadn't heard of this movie before you watched it.
No, yeah, I was shocked. I kind of thought I knew Val Kilmer's filmography, but I guess I did not. But yeah, I didn't know he was had the comedic acting chops. I can always respect that. Kind of like a Chris Hemsworth. You don't see a comedic actor when you look at them, but they got the chops for it.
Yeah, everybody hated the new Ghostbusters movie. But I thought Chris Hemsworth.
He was the saving grace.
He was really good in that movie. But I mean, I think it all comes down to writing too. As I said, with this type of movie,
true.
And they don't really make too many of these type of movies. Made a ton of them until they burned themselves out in the 80s and 90s. Hot Shots and all the Naked Gun stuff, and this particular movie. And then they had a whole bunch of them coming up. And
what was the Charlie Sheen? Wasn't Charlie Sheen in one? Was that Hot Shots?
Yeah, it was Hot Shots. Yeah.
Okay.
Hot Shots parts do.
Parts do.
But do. And they were good too, but they don't really make these type of rapid fire comedic movies with a lot of sight gags, a lot of jokes. The thing about this movie is there's some stuff in it that doesn't work. Now especially it's dated, but they were constantly coming up with the next joke. So one didn't work, and the next one will, and it kept on going. I mean, I watched this twice today. I watched it this morning, and I watched it right before we did the show because you can't just like watch it once and catch everything in it. But right from the beginning, it's just awesome. I mean, you get the great work where he's doing his Elvis impersonation. He does a pretty decent job. He does do all the singing in the movie.
Shocked to hear some catchy tunes in here, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like
you were humming it during the break. They're gonna go out and buy the soundtrack, I think.
I was the first time, like it was like the first time I watched it, I was like catchy song, but the second time I was just like I caught myself singing like, "I'll see you again, you can't." It's just great music. I was very shocked. Definitely, you said it before the stream, but Beach Boy, and I loved the Beach Boys in high school, so it was cool to see.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time they used the Beach Boys in the movies, but for songs. But starting off the beginning, this whole like East German stuff, the parody. You start off when you're seeing the ladies East German Olympic team come out, big dudes. And you're mentioning the joke and being, yeah, I know a little German. There's a little German.
Oh, just for context, I wanted to show for the audience. So there's a scene where Val Kilmer, he's an American, and he goes to this restaurant, and he's talking to. It's a German restaurant. He's in Germany, right? Jersey. He's German, okay. And she meets a chick. She's German, and so the waiter comes up, and everything's in German. He's like, I don't know any German, meaning he doesn't speak any German.
Right.
And so immediately she says, "Oh, I know a little German," and she's like, "He's over there." And the camera pans over to a table, and it's this short person, very short person. He's like, what do they call like the German with the suspenders and the short shorts and the hat
like
for the kegs? Yeah, yes, just like that. And he just waves at them. I'm like, oh God,
Ren
bro.
from Ren and Stimpy, I was doing.
I know a little German. He's over there.
But yeah, a lot of this movie is very non-PC. Could never be done today.
Yeah.
And you know, some of it goes that route, and then there's a lot of dated stuff, and of course we get the car route that turned into Pac-Man, which a lot of people.
Yeah.
You get the quote that her father got out of the United States before the Jimmy Carter regime came in. I mean, a lot of that stuff is gonna be over the head of anybody who grew up in that time.
Yeah.
But some of it's still very funny. I love the scene where they're looking down, try to escape, and you look down to the traffic, and there's hamsters running around on the in the road and shit like that. I mean, some of it's just so off the fucking wall. And then
you said earlier the ballet scene was really cool because it was almost like some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon shit.
She's dancing in the hard eyes. Yeah, I got
just
hard
lightly.
eyes.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
The German guy falls off the top of the tower and shambles into like porcelain. And he takes the cap off the submarine finder, and the fucking submarine comes flying through the magnetic thing. And the best scene that's in there, I love the scene that's in the trailer in the beginning where he goes out, he's in the cell, and he goes out through every hole, and it comes up like the toilet comes up to the wall.
I didn't think this movie was going to be as funny as it was. I'll admit that. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, well, that's why we're the first one to be real funny. Yeah, skeet surfing. And then, of course, a scene that really could be done now is all the kids running through the school with the shotguns.
Yeah, oh man, bro. Just a beach full of kids running down the sand with shotties in hand.
It's one old lady in a dress ringing out with a shotgun. I mean, there's so much you got to look at the crowd for all the stuff that's going on during all this movie. You know, I can't even think about half the stuff that was in there that's good. You know, and then the whole ending with the cow, with the cow and the bull, and
that was in the credits.
Yeah, I know. And the thing getting milked and all that. It's just, and the stupid names, Latrine and the.
Was this like a spoof off of like?
It's a spoof of like war movies.
Okay.
And, you know, he did the. If you're not familiar, he did the scene from The Great Escape where Steve McQueen's on a motorcycle. Instead of he's on a motorcycle, then he jumps the buses on the motorcycle. So there's a lot of homages to war movies, and a lot of the stuff in it is they're all just cliches and tropes from any World War II movie that you've ever seen. You know, but just taken to the extreme. You know, this movie, it works pretty well. So who's in the chat? Well, wow, here we got, let's see who's on here. We got Intriguing Comics. How you doing? Hey, Perry. So glad to see you. Evans in the house.
Boom.
Two Gun Pedro's in the house. Oh, he hadn't watched this movie in over 20 years. See, Scarpad's bringing the musty oldies out on Sunday night. That's where they are, bringing those musty oldies out. Yeah, I know. It's still on video. You can still pick it up on Blu-ray because I do have the Blu-ray on it.
Oh, and then the singing bit where he's like putting himself in all these like weird. I'm trying to find the word for it, but weird situations. Like he had the noose around his neck. Dylan, there's part where he's like singing on stage and he's like in all those weird situations. Like he puts his head around and then the noose around his neck.
Oh
Then
yeah,
he
yeah,
like puts his head in an oven. He lays on some
yeah.
train
Yeah,
tracks.
train
Like
tracks.
yeah.
Yeah,
And everyone's like, I want to get him up. The backup singers.
yeah. Obviously, that was all like the
Dylan, where you
Beatles.
at?
Oh, he does.
Did you watch it?
I don't think Dylan did watch it. No, I don't think he did. He's been. You know, we all
Oh, yeah, it's
forgot
Mother's
we all
Day.
forgot
Yeah,
it was
for
Mother's
sure.
Day today. I knew it was Mother's Day, but I figured it was late. But thank you all for stopping in. I know it's late. And must be all partied out from being partying with your mom. There's I watched this
Party.
movie. I watched this movie the second time with my mom. She, this is stupid, but she sat there and laughed at the whole thing. So.
It's a good kind of stupid. It's it's yeah, like I said, once it was the German bit, which is like, oh, I know a tiny German, or I know a little German, and she points to the dude. I was like, okay, I see. They're
But it
very
goes,
on the nose.
it goes on from there. Yeah, some of it's very on the money. I love this. I also like the scene where and this is a trope. If you ever go watch any World War II movie where they're devising out the plan, and they go, they got the stick. Here's where we are, and then they go in. They get this elaborate model, and the fucking the toy train that goes through the thing. Oh, right here.
Now, it's shocking that this is 10 years before.
That and they had the fucking sex toy there, the anus buster, whatever it was.
Oh God!
And they had the fist. And then they found the guy. The guy goes, "Didn't know we had 220 in this country. We found them impaled on this."
No, I was gonna say I was shocked that this because I see like I know he did shit in between, but this was like 10 years before he did Batman Forever, and I see like I see why they in this movie why they would have chose him for Bruce Wayne. Like
Yeah, I can't think of he I know he's done. I also know he's done some comedies too, Val Kilmer. Or around the edges of comedy, if not like Kiss Bang Bang was kind of comedic.
Yeah, that's dark. Shane Black, he's.
I wouldn't say he's comedic. He is a little comedic in Tombstone, even though he's playing Doc Adams.
Who directed Tombstone?
George Cosmatos. Go look that clusterfuck up sometime. They all hate him. But yeah, I mean, he showed a pretty wide range. And this came and said Real Genius. He really started comedies because Real Genius was a comedy.
True.
So he was kind of in comedy. I was trying to see what else Val
Did he ever do a horror film?
Because he was in Willow, Real Genius. So Top Secret was 84. Real Genius actually was after this, 85, and then they did Willow in 88. And
Willow was 88.
And then after that, he did The Doors, which I got.
But why did I think Willow was in early 80s movie?
True Romance.
That was 90s. Yeah, those are 90s. Yeah. True Romance wasn't a comedy though.
No, but what was he in True Romance? I don't even remember that. What part did he play in True Romance? Must have been
I have not seen that in forever. Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be like a Brad Pitt cameo.
The hitman. He was the hitman. Was he? Yeah, because they showed him in the glass. I remember that. He didn't have much of a part.
Did he have long hair?
I think so. He was in Heat.
Of course, of course.
And then he did Ghost in the Darkness, Island Dr. Moreau.
Yo, Island of Dr. Moreau, I know that movie gets I loved that movie as a kid. Like, it was crazy. I think kids would really dig that movie. I haven't seen it as an adult.
Yeah,
but
he was in Pollock, Alexander, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Deja Vu.
Oh, yeah, he was Colin Farrell's dad in Alexander.
Yeah.
That wanted to be Troy So Bad. Troy's so much better, but it's a solid movie.
Right.
Alexander the Great.
And as we were talking, I mean, it's hard to see, especially now after throat cancer and in Top Gun, where he really lost the ability to act because he really could hardly talk. It's too bad.
That was a cool cameo.
But he was definitely at the top of the game here. I mean, from singing to dancing to delivering the comedy, good timing.
And he is not to just speak on it real quick. He was a pretty solid Batman. I liked Batman Forever.
I thought he was a good
Bruce Wayne.
I thought he was a good. See, I have so many points on this opinion on Batman. Well, we're gonna get out Batman again, but he was a good Batman and a lousy Bruce Wayne. I did not like his Bruce Wayne. But
I could dig
I
that.
thought he
I
was
could dig
good
that.
Batman. On the opposite side, I thought
Michael Keaton was a great Batman.
and a pretty decent Bruce Wayne, even though a little bit different of one.
His Bruce Wayne was different. Yeah, it's not
And
your
I
average.
thought George Clooney was a really good Bruce Wayne, but a terrible Batman.
Yeah, I agree with
But
that.
it all comes
fully.
down to writing, and they didn't have it.
On paper, George Clooney should have been like a
He should have
great
been better,
Batman.
and he should have been
Yeah.
better. I mean, he really should have been better. But they said him with a terrible script, and I never liked Batman Forever either. I mean, the movie itself just had I didn't.
It came out as a kid, so I loved that.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I could see it, but it was way too over the top with Jim Carrey. He took over the movie, and he not in a good way. And then Tommy Lee Jones, who's good in everything, almost trying to match Jim Carrey, and that's not Two-Face, and that was terrible. And then you had a fucking 42-year-old Chris O'Donnell, saying lines like "Holy moly, Cotton Batman." It just fucking did not work.
What did he say in Batman and Robin when Uma Thurman kissed him? Kiss of death, but only if he's some corny line. He pulled off some plastic lips.
Yeah, and the problem is it wasn't any of those guys that killed Batman. It was Joel Schumacher that killed Batman.
This is true. What's crazy is because certain parts of me do like the neon flare he added to the
if he was gonna go, they should have made a decision.
Yeah,
do a complete homage to the '66 show, which that kind of was doing,
right?
Sort of, or don't. I mean, they kind of half-weighted it, and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's true. It was trying to, like you said, doing a homage to the '60s show, but
maybe if the Batman Robin one did a complete homage to it, people would say, "Oh, okay, we can see that."
It would be more. What the fucked up thing is? Batman and Robin. I think Batman Forever was them trying to do the homage style and Burton's aesthetic, but Batman and Robin was them trying to.
Joel Schumacher, you got ass chops.
Yeah. It was more. That's the strongest.
Batman does not go assless in his costume.
He goes nipless. Before Joe Schumacher, but Joe Schumacher was like, no, we need the detail. He needs to just be popping out that costume, bro.
And as 2K Pedro says here, he says Val Kilmer was great in terms of. I thought he was really.
That's only his stash.
Everybody remembers that movie for him, because I don't think the movie itself is that good. It's good, but it's not that good. It's Val Kilmer. That movie, what it is, really does.
I can believe it.
Have you seen that movie? Have you seen it?
I've not seen it in a while.
You should watch. Well, no, it was him and Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn was great in that too, as Johnny Ringo.
Michael Biehn was in that?
Yes, he was in that too.
No way.
He was really good in that movie too. So, but back to this movie. I think this movie here, they surrounded him by pretty good people and straight men too. The girl was good. All the freedom fighter guys were good. Latrine, Deja Vu, Black Moose,
Alfred, her dad.
Alfred the dad.
Speaking of Batman,
yeah, they were all pretty good. But it was a script. It just was. I think it was. Now a lot of these movies, if you go through and look at them, a lot of the later movies had the Zucker brothers, but didn't have Jim Abrams. Jim Abrams split from them for a while.
Was he a producer?
He was a writer. He wrote it with them and produced it.
Okay.
It was Abrams, Zucker, and Zucker that made Naked Gun and a lot of those movies.
Right.
And if you haven't seen the Naked Gun Police Squad TV series, they did that too, and that's hilarious. But then
was it Leslie Nielsen in it?
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen was in the TV series, and then they made it into a movie. The movie.
Oh no shit! I only knew the movies.
Yeah, the series only lasted like 6 episodes. It didn't last long. But it is on video. It's on a certain thing that you should watch. It's good. But the and then I was saying in the 90s they started going a little. In the 90s they went very political. They got kind of nuts. The Zucker brothers. I think maybe that's why Abrams. Yeah. Well, just in the older movies they lampooned everybody. In the newer movies they kind of lampooned one side. They made a movie called The American Carol. And it was more of a lampooning of one side of the political spectrum.
You got to go after everybody.
You got to go after everybody. Whoever your leanings are. So I mean, but this was when they were at the top of their ground. They really had it going here, and then after this movie, after this movie they got into the Naked Gun stuff, and that ran. And all three of those movies are pretty good, even the one with what's his face there, the guy that killed his wife. Uh, remember? Did you watch the Naked Gun movies? Have you seen those?
I have not seen those in that or
Uh,
Hot Shots in a minute.
yeah, it's been a
Major
long.
League.
Yeah, it's been a
Now,
long.
did they have anything to do with Major League?
No, not Major League.
Okay.
No,
Well, that is a different one.
let's see what they did here. Let's go back. Well, so what other? I mean, who else do you like in the movie as far as besides Val Kilmer, and what other memorable scenes do you remember? I'm glad this is a movie that you hadn't seen, which is good.
No, yeah, I was shocked. I actually enjoyed the chick quite a bit. She played that because these are obviously characters they're playing or
Yeah,
going off tropes of
caricatures,
it.
right?
Yeah, and so she played like that. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
The
not
heroine,
helpless.
yeah, the
The
heroine,
heroine. Yeah,
the
she
plucky
comes.
heroine.
Yes, very plucky. That's a good term for it. She was enjoyable. Um, Everyone else was pretty aces in this movie, to be honest. Like even the side characters, like I think everyone played into the jokes well. Favorite bits beyond that tiny German part was I did love the opening. That kind of gave me an indication what type of movie this was too, because I was like, all right, two dudes fighting on a train and shit, cool. That's always cool. And then it's one of those scenes where like one dude ducks because he sees like a bridge on the overhead coming up, and
Mm-hmm.
so he's like covering his head and shit, and because he's thinking the dude's gonna get smacked, and the dude like just busts through the bridge instead of him like falling off the bridge. There's just like a large hole in the bridge, and so the dude looks up like, oh shit, that didn't work. So it was a lot of cool moments, but those stood out the most to me.
Yeah, and some of the movies like David Zucker was producing. He did some writing. He wrote. What did he write? Or did he direct? He directed the Scary Movie 4 and 5.
No
Yeah, so he
way.
was responsible for that. He also did the superhero movie, which was kind of terrible. He
Yeah,
did.
fucking Kevin Hart was
He
in
was
it.
a producer on Phone Booth with Colin Farrell. That was a great movie.
That was a Joe Schumacher movie
Yeah,
too.
and he was a producer on Basketball. Remember that with Trey Wilson, the guys from South Park.
That I was gonna say earlier that was more in the vein. Major League was more in the vein of basketball, even though
Yeah, and
basketball came out second.
another one that was kind of decent too was High School High with John Lovitz. Remember that movie? And one that,
Well, he
and
went
one
to
that,
the
yeah,
I remember that.
and one that was really, if you can track it down, it was really underrated. Was a movie called Brain Donors. It was a take on the Marx Brothers. It was like a remake of a Marx Brothers movie, and it was the guys who played the Marx Brothers were John. Well, they weren't really playing the Marx Brothers, but Marx Brothers like John Turturro was one of the guys. It was a
Love John Turturro.
hilarious movie, Brain
What's
Donors.
it called? Brandon?
It's called
Okay.
Brain Donors. If you can get to see that. As far as let's take a look at Jim Abrams because he did a lot of the writing. So yeah, Hot Shots, Police Squad, Scary Movie 4. He wrote Mafia. That was kind of a bad one.
Mafia. I liked
You
Mafia
like
with the
Mafia?
J. Well, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I remember really
I
liking
very
Mafia.
don't even remember that one. Hot Shots, Part 1, Part 2, Naked Gun. He did. He went all the way back to Kentucky Fried Movie. That was in '77. What else he do?
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah, that was an old skit based movie. He did Ruthless. He was involved in Ruthless People, which was like a decent movie too, with Dave DeVito. So all these guys went on and did a lot of comedy stuff. But I would say probably by about 98, 99, this style of movie, the airplane
Kind of
style of
fading
movie, is
out.
pretty much gone. Because you can go back to the well too many times, and if it doesn't,
Good try.
yeah, it takes a lot. Some of it to get the combination of sight gag and joke doesn't always work.
It's a fine line.
And I don't even know if really they could do it now because of the way we're so divided on our thinking in movies, and the way that a lot of people are easily. I don't think a lot of people are easily. I think a lot of people could take a lot of comedy now, but the people who can't are vocal enough that we don't get this type of comedy anymore. So
I think we're slowly starting to get out of that shit because we got horrors on the rise. Like it's a resurgence, should I say? And we got movies like Cocaine Bear, Renfield doing good, even though they're still doing financially well. Shit like MCU's kind of
Well, I think they've never stopped those type of movies. Those movies are always gonna be there.
But like, look at Meg 2. Like, I think there's more interest in Meg 2 than there was for the first one.
But now they're getting to be more successful, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Cocaine Bear was pretty successful for what it was.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I thought it was a pretty decent movie. I mean, I thought I was entertained. It was funny.
The best movies I've seen this year have been the smaller budget films that Evil Dead Rise. That's a good example. Small budget,
right?
But it knows what it was doing and knows what it wanted to be, and those bigger. So I think comedy like this. I say all that to say that I feel like comedy like this could make its way. Even something like Tropic Thunder can make its way back into the audience. Someone's just got to take the chance. Like
Tropic Thunder may have been the last time we had a really off the wall,
something that pushed,
R-rated comedy that pushed some boundaries. That was what was that 2008?
2008.
Yeah, 2008.
They made it 2007. Yeah.
Really, I don't remember. I haven't really seen. I have to go through a list. I haven't, not too many comedies really I've seen in theaters of late. And
like the late 2000s was more like the that's okay, so because
Ghostbusters and stuff like that,
and Hangover. Even though Hangovers are funny movies, but they're just a different brand of like it's like a bro comedy almost.
Oh, the Hangover movies, they were okay, but they went. Yeah, the first one was okay. The second was the third was terrible. But even I was going to say, people. We were talking earlier about the Ghostbusters movie, and people harangue the third Ghostbusters. That's one of those movies I think got the bad rap because of woke and all this other bullshit.
Yeah,
and the fact that it wasn't tremendously that funny, but it was okay. It had, as you said,
it wasn't terrible.
But I tell you this: if people ask me which one I'd watch again and which one I thought I liked better, I take that over the last one they put out any day of the week.
I haven't seen the last one, Afterlife.
Afterlife to me was just.
I thought that was good though.
I did not like it at all. I hated the part. I hated the fact that, first of all, they take the guy who's least likely to have a fucking kid, which was the guy that died there.
Oh yeah,
the wacko guy, and give him the kid.
He always kind of had some game though,
and make him the fucking straight man. And then they finally talk like for 20 years. It took 20 years to get
Bill Murray
to come back to do a Ghostbusters movie. And they put him in this thing where he's not funny at all. When they give him really nothing to do. And they try to make it like cloyingly melodramatic and over sentimentalization of the daughter with the grandfather. That's such bullshit. I want to see dogs. I want to see dogs and cats living in the street, all this stuff.
You gotta see. You're one of the minority because people.
I will take the girls one because at least they tried.
So where there was no homage to the original Ghostbusters is the one you'd prefer.
I don't know. I didn't find the Afterlife that good at all. Which is I like Paul Rudd.
I have to see it.
To me, it was like they took Super 8 and the Ghostbusters, they melded them together. They came up.
I like Super 8.
Unholy Bass. I like Super 8 too, but not the two of those melded together. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again, but that's not the movie.
It's true.
We are talking about comedy.
We're talking about comedies, yeah.
I think the uncut version of the female Ghostbusters was funny. It was.
That movie gets a bad rep. I will say that. It doesn't deserve the rep it gets.
No, it wasn't horrible. I've certainly
No.
seen worse.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the bad thing is that uh, McCarthy there. What's her first name? Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Well,
Yeah.
it can be funny, but her movies are usually most of them, especially the stuff she made with her husband, is so god terrible that people forget that she can be funny and had been in some funny movies like Horrible Bosses and a few other movies that weren't terrible.
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids, but she took such a bad career path that
Yeah.
when she's bad in this, and you had people in this that that really weren't that great. I mean, they're coming off Saturday Night Live. They were popular in there. So they shove them in here. But
I knew you were talking about Leslie Mann, bro. I knew you were talking about Leslie Mann.
no, man. Leslie Mann is which one is Leslie Mann?
Or no, I believe that's her name.
No, it's
She's
the
the
one that
one from
was
Saturday.
no, it's the one that was in Wonder Woman. What's her face? I forget.
Oh,
Now.
Kirsten Wiig.
Yes,
Okay,
I
okay.
mean Kristen Wiig, and she was okay. And the other one was the
I never got
blonde,
her.
the
I
blonde
still don't
gal.
think no, but the blonde was Kirsten Wiig because then it had the chick with the short hair, like the faux hawkish
Yeah,
ish, I
I
guess.
forget her name was. She's funny on the show, but she wasn't that great in the movie. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but nowadays I think comedy's kind of moved back to TV. Maybe that's where it belongs. I don't know. You can have a funny movie, but now you have some decent shows on TV that are fairly funny and
It's Always Sunny is always pushing the boundaries. They did
yeah,
an episode
yeah. I
a
haven't watched
few
this
years
in years,
ago.
but it was funny when I
And you know
watched it.
what? And it's not how it was in its prime, but for
Right?
a show to be going like that, for that a type of show like that to be
Yeah.
still running for 15 years later, it started in 2005, mind you. That says something about the quality of it and
Yeah,
Supernatural.
I just watched some of the Pete Davidson thing on the cock, and
Bupkis.
that wasn't too bad. That was pretty good. I liked
He's
on Hulu. I love Letterkenny. At least the first 8 years of that's
I've
really
tried to get
funny.
into that show. I can't. I'm
Really,
gonna have to give
I
it a
like
shot. Yeah,
Letterkenny.
I've
I
heard
like
great things.
Reservoir Dogs was really good. The one that
Oh, the with her on
the Indian
the
reservation. I
yeah, the
forget.
reservation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. So there's good comedies on television. They just need to do something about the movies.
Oh, so you can watch a show about kids on reservations, but you can't watch a movie about kids seeing ghosts.
Oh, I know. I had to
No, I'm
rewatch
just
that
kidding.
movie. I just didn't really care for it, but that's just me. But back to
Yeah.
this movie. So I'm glad that you finally got to see because I think initially when I suggested it, you were apprehensive. You were
Yeah, I was
thinking
like,
you're thinking
eh.
80s, Val Kilmer.
This is kind of on topic but unrelated. What happened between like the 80s to 90s, like the quality of film? Like there's a certain look to 80s film that 90s it started to get a bit more cinematic looking, I guess. Because I don't know if that's the correct term. But
No,
you
you're
can
probably
see an
right.
80s film and know it's an
Well,
80s
a lot
film.
of these comedies in the 80s were shot in really a TV wide aspect ratio. They
Okay.
fit the screen. And
Right.
now everything is shot in a super wide aspect ratio, so you get the
Yeah,
bars up on top.
hence
And
the cinematic.
comedy tends to lend itself better to the less wide
The
aspect because it's
the
more
TV.
in your face and
Right.
it can be more comedic. I don't know what really happened to it. Really well, the comedies in the 90s. I mean, we had some comedies in the 90s, like What About Bob was in the 90s.
Was that the
Rufus
oh yeah, it was the
People,
Bill Murray? That's a
yeah,
great one. What
yeah,
about Bob?
you had Rufus People, you had Other People's Money with Dave DeVito.
Ooh.
You had some good ones in the 90s, very early 90s. I would say it's more the 2000s that are kind of unmemorable. I have to look and see what I'm
Two
sure there's good ones there,
thousands.
but
Yeah, it was just a different vein of. That was like stoner comedy era. You had like Half Baked coming in the late '90s. That was like '98.
yeah, once Seth
And
Rogen hit with with
that was until like
all his movies.
2004. That was like because he was in 40-year-old virgin in 2004. He was a no name when he was in that. That wasn't even his movie. His big break was Knocked Up in
Yeah, knocked up
2007.
right.
Yeah.
And then you had the Harold Kumar movies. Those were the early 2000s, wasn't it?
2004, yeah, stoner comedies though.
Yeah,
That was the stoner comedy.
yeah,
Early
and then
2000s was about the stoners.
yeah, yeah. 90s had some stuff. I love like in the 90s. I love Dazed and Confused. That is kind of a comedy.
Yeah, Richard
Uh,
Linklater. Have you
yeah,
ever seen his movie Boyhood?
No, I've been meaning to, but I haven't
That's
watched that
a
one. I
interesting
heard it's
film.
pretty good. But I love
They
Days and
use the
Confused.
same.
That's my top five.
They shot that movie over a course of like 10 years. Like they used the same actor from a
Right.
boy, and they would every summer they were in between projects. Richard Linklater would shoot the scenes for this movie over the course of like over 10 years. So you got to see the same kid actor,
Yeah.
and even Ethan Hawke. I forget who the mom was, but it was interesting to see them age on film.
Yeah,
You
they
don't
did
see
that.
that.
There was a European director that did the same thing since the 60s. He followed, and every one of his movies was like, 15, 25, 35, 45. And he followed all these same people. They weren't actors, they were just people
Right.
through all the movies up to like it was in the 60s. So he kind of borrowed from that
I could see it. Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, my favorite 80s, without a doubt, is my favorite. Like horror, it's my favorite comedy. I mean, with Stripes, and you had Bill Murray and all the other
80s
stuff
is like
going
the
on.
most creative decade in terms of just like being experimental with music, fashion, movies.
Right. And then you had, Eddie Murphy was big in the 80s, and so many things were big in the 80s. And then 90s, you know, not so much.
90s had its moments.
You had a lot of the guys coming out from Silent Live. So you had the Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, and which I like. I
Yeah.
still like that movie.
Superstar.
And I don't know. Do you remember a movie called Hollywood Shuffle with Robin Townsend? Did you ever watch that?
Is that
Okay,
Meteor Man, the
yeah,
actor?
that's a guy. Yeah, where he's like, you
I sounds
gotta have whole
familiar.
cake.
I might have
Even
seen it.
hoes gotta have whole cake. Every hoe got have a whole cake. Yeah, that's that movie.
I might have seen it in a minute. What's
Yeah.
it called?
Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle.
It's good. It's a good one to see. It's kind of like a sketch based movie, kind of like UHF was. You ever see UHF with Weird Al?
Mm-mm.
No one you gotta watch. You gotta watch Weird Al's UHF because Weird Al is a genius.
Yeah,
Have you watched the Weird Al
he is
movie?
creative.
Did you watch the Weird Al biography?
Is that the one with Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah, that was excellent too. That was a
No,
real good
I heard
movie.
that was good.
It was really good.
Daniel Radcliffe, he's it sucks because he's almost not really sucks, but he's Mark Hamill did find a name for himself, but he's always kind of been known as Luke Skywalker, where Daniel Radcliffe's always kind of known as Harry Potter, that he can't escape that. He's a decent enough actor though, but he can't escape that Harry Potter image.
And I thought the first, what was the first scary movie? What year did they come out? 90s or 2000s?
That was 2000. 2000.
And when did Scream come out? The first Scream.
That was 96.
So, and obviously, scary movie was Scream and a comedy.
Oh yeah,
more comedy.
Yeah.
But the first couple of scary movies were pretty good too. The first couple of them, and then they got kind of bad.
Well, did you like 3 and 4 though? Was Zucker?
I think I remember 3 being good. I remember
But 3 was solid. Yeah, I was gonna say
all
4
over
was
the place. Some of them were kind of up and down, but
the Wayans Bros had a certain brand of humor that, because I remember when I think the third one came out like 2006, because I was graduating high school somewhere around there, and I just remember the tone being different. Like it wasn't, not that it wasn't funny, but it was just so different from the first two, like the style of humor. And it makes sense now that, these are like the people behind Airplane, the more in your face type of, on the nose type of humor.
Yeah. On TV, Key and Peele was real good too.
Key and Peele wasn't. I liked them, but they were a Dave Chappelle clone. They just
Dave Chappelle was good.
Yeah.
You ever see that Key and Peele movie with a cat?
Keanu, that is actually a good movie. I put that movie off for like 2 years just because I was like, bro, I can't believe they got a movie made about a fucking cat called Keanu. Like I thought when I saw the trailer, I thought that it was a spoof for one of their shows, like a mock trailer. Like I didn't know it was an actual movie.
Well, Jordan Peele, I mean, he didn't stay. I mean, obviously now all he's doing is horror stuff and sci-fi. He didn't stay in comedy, and maybe it's because he did so much on TV with comedy. But I'd like to see him do more with comedy.
Keanu was good though.
He is really good, and I wish he would do a comedy for a movie.
I think he just doesn't want to. He wants to have some prestige. Not to say that comedy doesn't have prestige to the name, but he kind of, it's hard to cross that genre. Now he's a respected filmmaker, but
I
he's a comedian. I won't
go that far.
He's a respected filmmaker.
We reviewed some of his movies.
Yeah, even the ones okay, so two I like
No,
I
I
like
know he.
I
He's
like
had
all
these
his
two good
movies,
movies.
but
Yeah,
two out of it. I like Nope and I like Get
yeah.
Out. And Us is shot well, but
I still
they
can't forgive him for the awful Twilight Zone he narrated.
but was he what role did he really have in that? Was he
I don't
like an
know. I
executive
blame him
producer?
anyways. He was all. That's all.
There was a few
But
bad ones on that.
oh
I'm
my
not gonna
gosh,
lie.
terrible. But the yeah, the Keanu was decent,
Yeah,
and
about a damn
yeah,
cat.
yeah. All right, so I guess we'll wrap up this tonight's movie. Just Val Kilmer was great in this, and
He was a gem.
my favorite scene is still with the cow. Every time I see that, I just there's another movie. What movie was it? Do you remember a movie? Maybe I'm. What was that movie that came out where they hid in the cow? They hid in the cow's ass.
You're thinking of Jim Carrey hiding in the electronic rhino in Ace Ventura: Nature
No, no,
Calls.
no, no. There was a movie. Was it the Brothers Grimm? Remember that movie that came out by the guys who did Borat, and it was Borat and his brother, and they hid in the cow's actual anus, and they showed them like inside, and they were like a mock-up of the cow's ass, like inside. Somebody here must know it in the
That
chat.
it might have been a Borat movie, but I was gonna
It
say
wasn't a
Brothers
Borat
Grimm
movie,
was
but
by
yeah,
the Terry Gilliam.
okay. I'm pretty sure they did that in Brothers Grimm, which was an odd movie, but I like that
It
movie.
was different. No, I was gonna say that that's one of even though Terry Gilliam is a unique director, I was gonna say that's one of his more unique movies.
Yeah, yeah. And then I thought I get them mixed up because I think and maybe this analogy, I think in the 90s and 2000s, I think the Fairley brothers kind of took over from the Zuckers
They were the
because
90s.
they made
Yeah.
Kingpin
Yep. Then something
and
about Mary.
something about Mary, and then
Um
Me, Myself, and Irene. They did that
they
one.
even in the early 2000s because they had that what was it, Stuck on You with Greg Kinnear and who was it? It was two they were conjoined twins.
Jack wants to know, Scarpad, is a movie you have not seen there in a cow's ass? I don't think so. I look for that. I
Well,
have
let me look
levels.
this up.
But yeah, I
Is it-
mean,
Oh, was it Woody Harrelson? No, 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 no.
Kingpin was Woody Harrelson. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I love Kingpin's a great movie. I love that movie,
The Bolin movie.
the bowling movie. But
This has been a
yeah, I
bowling movie.
mean, I think the Farrellys kind of took over from the Zuckers, and that they were kind of the '90s
They
comedy.
had a more subtle style to compared to the
Yeah, they
Zuckers.
were off the wall as much. They did off the wall
Yeah.
things in the movies. But they were now. Did they do Liar Liar too? I think they did Liar Liar, didn't they? The Farrellys.
They might have produced that. I don't think they directed that. Oh, it was Matt Damon. He was on stuff. Okay, snap. Um, Liar, liar. I think they would.
I
I
think
don't
maybe
think
one
they
of them did.
directed.
No,
Oh,
but
Tom Shadyac.
okay,
Shadyac.
okay, yeah. But then of course we had the Ace Ventura movies, The
Fairley Brothers
Mask.
were Me, Myself, and Irene. My
Yeah,
bad.
me and myself
I
and Irene,
think.
right?
Okay.
That had a cow in it too. Remember the cow? They
Yeah,
hit the
yeah.
cow. I remember my movies with cows in it. I don't know why.
That's one of Jim Carrey's best performances. Is Me,
Yeah,
Myself, and Irene.
yeah. I still love Kingpin. You had Woody Harrelson. You had Bill Murray as a wacko bowler there.
What was what's his
Lynch,
face's brother?
what's it?
Uh,
Oh yeah,
I
he
can't
was
think of his
the
name. He's married to Meg Ryan. His son's in The Boys.
uh,
Jack Quaid, Dennis
oh
Quaid,
Jack
Dennis
Wade.
Quaid's brother
Is that Jack
is
Wade?
in. Jack Quaid's the son in The Boys, but
Oh,
no,
is
his
he?
Dennis Quaid's brother is the tall, goofy one and the what was it called? Pinch Bowling, bowling movie
A
that
Kingpin.
you're just talking about, Kingpin. He was like the tall one. With you've
Okay,
seen
I
him,
vaguely watch that movie again. I haven't watched
yeah.
this in a long.
He's been in a few things.
Super Bad. Two Guns mentioned. Super Bad was really good. That was Seth Rogen, wasn't it? He was in it. I don't know if he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, yeah. He wrote. I know. He was in it. I think he wrote the script with Jonah Hill. If or Seth Rogen wrote it with Evan Goldberg, and I know they all kind of write together when they make movies.
Yeah, then they had that. Then they had the end of the world one.
That was really good. This is the end,
Yeah, I liked it, but
bro. That was a
a
good
lot of
one.
people don't like it. And I think it's pretty divisive, that movie. But
It was meta.
I'm
I
still
liked
looking,
it there.
and I'm still looking for that Attack of the Block you mentioned. I can't find that anywhere. So that's like,
Really,
yeah, I
Attack the
can't find.
Block.
Yeah, I can't find that video or nothing. I've never seen it. So I will.
That's a gem. That's yeah.
Now, is that a
That's
comedy or
a
is that a sci-fi?
sci-fi comedy. It's
Sci-fi.
definitely a comedy, but it's heavily it's straddles the line for both.
Yeah, well, the other one they did is what was the at World's End was the one with the guy from Hot Fuzz.
Yep. Yep. That
That was
was.
similar to the one they did. That
Yep.
was the yeah that yeah. And his
It's
comedies were pretty.
crazy.
Yeah, his comedies weren't bad either.
That I
Most of
was
them.
talking about this the other day that sometimes there'll be like themes that are connected. Like those movies both came out months apart and they both have like a similar plot or like a
Because the studios had a lot of leakage, and they saw
mm,
they steal shit.
that makes sense. Like, oh, this sounds good. We got to make our own version. Get on it.
That's why things like you get Babylon 5, and then in Babylon 5 they take the script. Just Straczynski brought his script to Paramount for Babylon 5, and Paramount said no, we don't really want that. We have our own shows, and we can't really see a show that's going to be any good just set on a space station. So we're going to pass on it. 6 months later, Star Trek Deep Space Nine set in a space station.
Wow.
In Babylon 5, you have a leader who, becomes a leader and then ends up transcending to become a ranger and then go off on his own. And Star Trek, you have Cisco who becomes a leader of the wormhole aliens and transcends into a god and goes out and they ripped them off. But no one lived.
I believe it. I believe it.
But that's what happens. They circulate
I've seen it,
scripts
Hollywood.
and that's right. They cheat and they steal. Those like
Son of a bastard.
I know, I'm telling you. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming in today, and especially on Mother's Day. Thank you
Good recommendation.
for coming in. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. Hopefully you get to see more movies you haven't seen. And Sal, Jack's Law, appreciate you coming here, man. Two Gun, Evan, and Perry, everybody else that was in the chat.
Are we gonna score this movie?
We can if you want.
It's only right.
We can.
I enjoy it. Out of 5, I will give this a solid 3.75. I only say that is because when I look at movies, I think of like a universal appeal where someone to see it for the first time that this might not be their type of movie. Will this come across type of thing? And it's a great comedy, and I might enjoy it on a 4 level, but I think a universal level is a 3.75 because some of this shit might be lost on certain folks that aren't.
Well, it's also it's dated. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a 4. I mean, there are people that, like my girlfriend, loves dumb, stupid humor movies like this, but there's people that don't like it at all. That don't get it. They can look at it and say that's not funny.
Yeah.
Or they don't pay attention. And these kind of movies, you kind of gotta watch.
You do, because like
75% of what's happening you're seeing on the screen, it's not being
the wordplay, right? So like the bit with the little German, that's just such a perfect bit with the wordplay and like if you just hear it,
it's a mix of jokes and it's a mix of sight gags, and if you're not paying attention, it's gonna go right over your head and you're not gonna get it. And some people just think this type of stupid humor is just stupid.
I got it playing in the background. He's doing the fucking. They're in the underwater, and he just did the little foot shuffle like Muhammad Ali.
Oh yeah, when they're in the bar room down below playing the banana.
Puts on the hat.
That was just so stupid. I mean, it's just out of nowhere. Puts on a hat. There's so much in this movie that you remember. It's like it's just one of the good stupid comedies to put on.
Yeah, it's fun.
And watch. I can watch this, Airplane, Naked Gun, Hot Shots. I can just watch them anytime because it's just good, stupid, dumb humor. And it's amazing,
Right.
too, as you said, even a movie like this, it was smart. I mean, there is a good maybe 10% of this movie that is of the time. The jokes, Pac-Man, Jimmy Carter. There's so much universal stuff in here that there's enough in it that it's still funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
40 years
It,
later, it's still funny. So definitely for whatever we're gonna give it. 4 cows.
respectful.
4 cows for me. 4 cows asses
The
for
back
me.
halves. Yeah.
The back half. So, well, thank everybody for coming in tonight. What we got coming up this week? Tomorrow night, we're doing Outland, which is a very alien-influenced movie with Sean Connery. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a great movie. I don't know if Steph, you try to watch it.
No, yeah, I'm gonna try to watch it. I've not seen it.
It's really, I like it, but you may not. You never know. And then, of course, coming up this week sometime, we have our next link at Scarpad. It's got issues. Not that we all have issues tonight. And we're going to be doing Chip Zdarsky's Newburn.
I'm excited. I've been wanting to read that.
All 8 issues of that, which I don't know, is that over with? Because I got the trade, and the trade says volume 8. Well, I'm sorry, volume 8, volume 1, but it's all 8 issues. So that's almost saying like there's going to be a volume 2.
Yeah, he's probably not in a rush to put out a second volume with that, like just because that came out last year, I believe, or maybe
21. I think it came out late 21. Okay. I haven't read it yet, so I'm looking forward to read. Did you read it?
No. I love Chip Zdarsky too, though. He's
there's so much of this stuff. Even I read his Afterlife. Did you read that on Comixology? He did Afterlife. That was a great series too.
That was Jeff Lemire, wasn't it? I think that was Jeff Lemire.
That was Zdarsky.
It might be, but I think Lemire was Afterlife because it had to do with him, his dead daughter.
It was a taxi cab. They're going to driving to the afterlife and all that.
I think it might be Lemire. That Zdarsky's doesn't. He's kind of more of a. That's kind of a deeper book. He hasn't really. Not to say he's not capable, but he hasn't really delved too much into that. That sounds like some Jeff Lemire genre.
Two Gun Nose. Good comedy to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So we have that coming up on probably Friday. I think it's going to be debuting. Yeah, and then after that we have next Saturday night on Dylan's show. I think Dylan is doing. What is he doing? You know?
Did you forget already? Because I did too.
I think. He's doing two people probably know what he's
doing. The faculty.
Oh, the faculty. That's right. I haven't seen that movie. So I can't wait to see it.
You're in for a treat.
Because I'm sure it's going to be decent. Get over my bias for 90s horror.
It's a good representation of the 90s.
Don't make me watch Disturbing Behavior, any of that stuff.
That's a good one. I like Disturbing Behavior.
All right. Maybe I'll watch it. We'll see. And then after that, next Sunday night, be here at 10 o'clock, and we're going to be looking at this film. Can never get enough Clive Owen in your
I just, right before we came on stream, I had seen something, it was something random, but they said that he was the top choice that Marvel wanted for Iron Man, but Clive Owen turned it down.
Everybody wanted Clive Owen for something. They wanted him.
He was the shit, yeah.
They wanted him for James Bond. It didn't happen. They wanted him.
He would have been a great James Bond.
There's so much stuff that he's been linked to that he didn't get, unfortunately. But Shoot 'Em Up from 2004, I believe it is, 2003. 2008. Okay. Close enough. Paul Giamatti, who's actually fantastic in this as well. So next Sunday night, join us at 10 o'clock. We'll be talking Shoot 'Em Up. Monica Bellucci's also in there, I believe.
Yes, she is, yeah.
So that's next Sunday night. So thank you guys for coming in. Hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday. And make sure you go and give your mother a hug. Give her breakfast in bed.
Tell your moms we said hi.
Tell your moms we said hi. That's right. But don't tell them we heard about it. Tell them we weren't smoking either. Thanks, Steph. We'll catch you guys later.